Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator philosophy to help you build a spending plan that fits your life, grow your savings and investment, and knock out debt with confidence. And today, we're going after a myth that has been floating around for way too long. That being debt-free is some kind of fantasy, a dream, a unicorn riding a rainbow. Let me be clear, debt freedom isn't a dream, it's a plan, and it's one you can start building today. In this episode, we're going to break down how to pay off debt the Triggator way, intentionally, strategically, and with momentum. We'll cover the difference between the Snowball, Avalanche, and custom payoff methods, and how to choose the one that fits your life. How to find snowflakes in your spending, those hidden dollars that can melt your debt faster than you think. Why becoming debt-free is the ultimate raise. Spoiler, it's not just about money, it's about freedom. And the mindset shift that turns your plan from maybe someday into absolutely today. Because here's the truth, you don't need a windfall. You don't need a second job. You need a plan and a little bit of rhythm. So grab your favorite beverage, your notebook, and your Triggator mindset, and let's get to work. The method behind the magic, choosing your debt payoff strategy. Let's start with a truth bomb. There is no one-size-fits-all way to pay off debt. If there were, we'd all be sipping smoothies on a beach somewhere, debt-free and sun-kissed. But real life, it's messier. It's full of student loans, car payments, medical bills, and that one store credit card you opened up for 15% off a blender. So today, we're breaking down the three most popular debt payoff strategies, the Snowball, the Avalanche, and the Custom, and helping you figure out which one fits your life, your brain, and your budget. Because the best plan isn't the one that looks good on paper. It's the one that you'll actually stick to. The debt snowball, momentum over math. Let's start with the Snowball method. This one's a fan favorite, and for good reason. Here's how it works. List your debts from smallest balance to the largest balance. Make minimum payments on everything. Then throw every extra dollar at the smallest debt. When that one is gone, roll its payment as well as the extra into the next smallest balance. It's simple, it's satisfying, and it's all about momentum. Think of it like this. You're building a snowball at the top of a hill. At first, it's tiny, but with every roll, every paid off debt, it gets bigger, faster, and harder to stop. And the psychology behind it? Rock solid. In a 2016 study published by the Journal of Consumer Research, they found that people who used the Snowball method were more likely to stick with their debt payoff plan, even if it wasn't the most mathematically efficient. Why? Because early wins build confidence, and confidence builds consistency. As the self-described practically perfect in every way Mary Poppins once said, once begun is half done. The Avalanche method, math over momentum. Now let's talk about the Avalanche method. This one's for the spreadsheet lovers, the number crunchers, the folks who get a little thrill from optimizing interest rates. Here's how it works. List your debts from highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. Then, similar to the Snowball method, make minimum payments on everything, throw every extra dollar at the debt with the highest interest. When that one's gone, move to the next highest. This method saves you the most money in the long run. It's mathematically efficient. It's financially sound. But here's the catch. It can feel slow. If your highest interest debt is also your biggest balance, it may take months or even years before you knock out your first win. And that can get discouraging. So if you're someone who needs quick wins to stay motivated, the Avalanche might feel like watching paint dry on a rainy day. But if you're laser focused on saving money and you've got the patience of a Jedi Master, Avalanche might be your jam. The Custom method. Your life, your rules. Now, let's talk about the Triggator favorite, the Custom method. This is where you take the best of both worlds and make it your own. Maybe you start with the smallest debt to build momentum, Snowball style, then switch to the highest interest debt to save money, Avalanche style. Maybe you prioritize the debt that's emotionally draining, like the loan from your ex or the credit card tied to a tough season. The custom method is all about alignment. It's about asking, what's the next best debt for me to pay off based on my goals, my mindset, and my season of life? Because here's the truth. Debt isn't just numbers. It's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. And your plan, it should reflect that. How to choose your method. So how do you know which method is right for you? Some questions to ask yourself. Do I need quick wins to stay motivated? If so, start with Snowball. Am I focused on saving the most money long term? Try the Avalanche. Do I want a plan that fits my life, not just my math? Go custom. And remember, you're not locked in. You can switch methods, you can adjust, you can pivot. This isn't a tattoo, it's a tool. Let's talk stats. If you're still not sure, let's look at the numbers. According to a 2023 report by LendingTree, the average American carries about $7,000 in credit card debt. And with the average interest rate hovering around 24%, that's a lot of money going to interest instead of progress. But here's the kicker. A 2022 study by the National Bureau of Economics Research found that people who used a structured debt payoff plan, regardless of the method, were 35% more likely to become debt-free within 24 months than those who didn't. Translation: the method matters less than the momentum. I want to bring up one of my favorite Rocky Balboa-isms. We've said it before, but it bears repeating. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's debt payoff in a nutshell. You're going to get hit by unexpected expenses, by discouragement, by that one friend who says, why don't you just get a new credit card with a 0 interest rate? But if you keep moving forward one payment at a time, you win. Debt freedom isn't a dream. It's a decision. It's a plan. It's a rhythm. And whether you're rolling a snowball, riding an avalanche, or dancing to your own custom beat, the key is to start. Because once you start, you're not just paying off debt, you're building confidence, you're building clarity, you're building freedom. And that's worth every step. Finding snowflakes in your spending, the secret sauce to accelerated payoff. Let's talk about snowflakes. Not the kind that fall from the sky and make your kids beg for hot cocoa. I'm talking about the sneaky, surprising, and sometimes substantial dollars hiding in your life. The ones that melt away unless you give them a mission. In the Triggator world, we call these snowflakes. And when you gather enough of them, you build a snowball. And that snowball, it crushes debt. This section is all about how to find those snowflakes, big and small, redirect them with purpose, and accelerate your debt payoff without feeling like you're living on rice and regret. What are snowflakes really? Snowflakes are irregular, sometimes unexpected, or underutilized dollars that can be redirected towards your debt. They come in 2 flavors. We have micro snowflakes. These are small, everyday savings or found money. It could be $8.99 from canceling a streaming service, $3.25 from skipping that drive-thru, $12 from returning that impulse Amazon buy. Then there are macro snowflakes. These are the larger, less frequent windfalls. Things like that $1,200 tax refund, a $500 work bonus, a $250 Facebook Marketplace sale, or maybe that $100 birthday check that grandma gave you. Thanks, grandma. Individually, they may not seem like much, but together, they're a blizzard in progress. According to a 2024 report by Bankrate, the average American receives over $3,000 per year in non-paycheck income. Things like refunds, rebates, gifts, and side hustle earnings. That's $250 a month just waiting to be reassigned. Where to find your snowflakes? Let's go snowflake hunting. Here are 7 places to start. 1. Refunds and rebates. Tax refunds, insurance overpayments, product rebates. Those are prime snowflakes. Don't let them disappear into your checking account abyss. 2, bonuses and commissions. That year-end bonus, that quarterly commission, before you celebrate with a new gadget, assign a portion of it to your debt. Celebrate with progress. 3, side hustle drips. Sold something online, babysat for a neighbor. That $40 isn't extra, it's a snowflake. Assign it. 4, cashback and rewards. Got points sitting in a rewards account? Redeem them for statement credits or gift cards and apply the savings to your debt. 5, impulse buy reversals. Return something, cancel a subscription. That's a snowflake. Don't just let it sit, redirect it. 6, lifestyle adjustments. Downgraded your phone plan? Switch to generic groceries? That monthly savings is a recurring snowflake. Automate it towards your debt. 7, unexpected gifts or payouts. Birthday money, class action settlements, or a random $50 from a friend who finally paid you back. That all counts. The psychology of small and big wins. Here's why snowflakes matter. They create momentum. Behavioral economist Dr. Wendy De La Rosa explained in her 2023 TED Talk that people are more likely to stick with financial goals when they see frequent, visible progress. That's why snowflakes work. They're visible, they're frequent, they're satisfying. And when you combine micro and macro snowflakes, you get double the dose of dopamine. Remember the Shawshank Redemption? Andy Dufresne didn't escape from prison in one night. He chipped away at the wall, one spoonful at a time, day after day, year after year. That's what snowflakes are, tiny spoonfuls of progress, and one day you break through. How to track your snowflakes. You don't need a fancy app, though the Triggator app will make it super easy when it drops. You just need a system. Try this. Create a snowflake category in your budget. Every time you find unexpected money, log it. At the end of the week, transfer that total to your debt. Even if it's just $5, even if it's $500, because it's not just about the amount, it's about the assignment and the momentum that it creates. A real life example, the bonus that became a breakthrough. A listener named Marcus shared this with us. I got a $2,000 bonus at work. Normally, I'd use it for a vacation or a new TV, but this time I threw it at my car loan. It knocked out 4 months of payments. That one decision saved me over $300 in interest and gave me a taste of freedom I didn't expect. That's the power of snowflakes that turn extra into accelerated. Mindset shift. From windfall to weapon. Let's be clear, this isn't about guilt. It's not about saying I can't enjoy my money. It's about saying I choose what matters most. When you start seeing every dollar, big or small, as a tool, not just a treat, you shift from reaction to intention. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, does this align with my mission? And that shift, that's where the magic happens. Snowflakes are powerful. They're daily decisions and surprise blessings that build your future. They're proof that progress doesn't require perfection. They're the secret weapon of every debt-free story. So start looking, start logging, and start assigning. Because when you gather enough snowflakes, you don't just build a snowball, you build momentum, you build freedom, you build peace. The ultimate raise, why debt freedom changes everything. Let's talk about the biggest raise you'll ever get. No, it's not from your boss. It's not from your side hustle. It's not even from that one time you tried to sell your Beanie Baby collection on eBay. It's from becoming debt free. Because when you stop sending hundreds or thousands of dollars to creditors every month, you didn't just free up cash, you free up your future. This section is all about the mindset shift that happens when you stop working for your debt and start working for your dreams. Debt freedom equals a raise without a promotion. Let's do some quick math. According to the Federal Reserve's 2024 Consumer Credit Report, The average American household carries the following: $7,000 in credit card debt, $28,000 in auto loans, and $37,000 in student loans. That's over $72,000 in consumer debt. And depending on your interest rate, that could mean between $1,200 and $1,800 a month in payments. Now imagine this. You pay it all off. You eliminate every monthly payment except your mortgage, or maybe even that too. Suddenly, you've got $1,500 a month that's yours again. That's $18,000 a year. To get that kind of raise at work, you'd need a promotion, a miracle, and a very generous fairy godmother. But with a debt payoff plan, you give yourself that raise. From surviving to leading. Here's the real transformation. When you're in debt, your money is reactive. It's consistently putting out fires. It's trying to survive. But when you're debt-free, your money becomes proactive. It builds, it grows, it leads. You stop asking, how do I make it to the next month? And start asking, what do I want my life to look like 5 years from now? That's not just a financial shift, that's a leadership shift. Remember that iconic scene in Braveheart when William Wallace rides out in front of his ragtag army, face painted, sword raised, and shouts, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom." Now imagine that, but instead of a sword, you're holding your final loan statement. Instead of a battlefield, you're standing in your kitchen, bagel in hand, realizing that every dollar you earn from now on is yours. That's what debt freedom feels like. It's not quiet. It's not subtle. It's a full body, fist pumping, freedom roaring moment. Because when you make that last payment, you're not just closing a financial chapter, you're reclaiming your future. What the research says. A 2023 study by the American Psychological Association found that 72% of Americans cite money as a significant source of stress. But here's the kicker. Those who reported being debt-free were 45% less likely to experience chronic financial anxiety. And in a 2022 Gallup poll, people who had paid off their consumer debt reported higher levels of life satisfaction, better sleep, and improved physical health. Why? Because debt isn't just a financial burden. It's an emotional one, a mental one, a spiritual one. And when you lift it, you don't just feel richer, you feel lighter. What to do with your raise? We talked about this a few days ago, but I think it's worth talking over again. So you've paid off your debt, you've given yourself a raise, now what? Here's how you lead that money with purpose. First, build your peace of mind funds. Your emergency fund, it needs to be 6 months of expenses. Alligator fund, make sure all your non-monthly expenses are accounted for and covered. Fund, you definitely need that for that guilt-free joy. Second, fuel your wealth funds. We're talking about things like your Roth IRA, 401k, your brokerage accounts, real estate or business investments, and passive income streams. Third, fund your mission. Make sure that you work into your plan the opportunity to give generously, invest in your family, start that dream project, and of course, maybe take a trip, write the book, launch the thing. Because the goal isn't just to be debt-free, it's to be mission full. Real life example, the paycheck that came home. A listener named Elena shared this. When I made my last student loan payment, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I realized I finally owned my paycheck. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't working for Sally Mae. I was working for me. That's the moment we're chasing. That's the freedom we're building. Here's the final mindset shift. Debt freedom isn't just about money. It's about leadership. It's about leading your money instead of following your bills. It's about making decisions from clarity, not crisis. It's about building a life that reflects your values, not your minimum payments. And when you lead your money with purpose, it follows. Debt freedom is the ultimate raise. It's the ultimate peace. It's the ultimate power move. Because when you stop working for your debt, you start working for your dreams. So don't wait for a promotion. Don't wait for a windfall. Don't wait for perfect. Start with a plan. Start with a snowflake. Start with your next paycheck. Because debt-free isn't a dream. It's a decision, and you're the one that gets to make it. You've made it to the end of Debt-Free Isn't a Dream, It's a Plan. And if you're still here, you're not just dreaming about freedom, you're ready to build it. We've talked about the 3 major debt payoff strategy, the Snowball, Avalanche, and Custom, and how to choose which one fits your life. We've talked about how to find snowflakes in your spending, those surprise dollars that can melt your debt faster than you think. And we've talked about why becoming debt-free is the ultimate raise, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now it's time to take action. Today's challenge is simple but powerful. Add up all of your monthly debt payments, your credit cards, car loans, student loans, personal loans, anything with a balance and a due date. Now, imagine this. What would your life look like if that money came home with you? What would you do with it? What would you build? What would you finally stop worrying about? Write it down. That number, that's your raise. That's your why. Because when you see the finish line, you start running differently. Got a snowflake win? A debt-free milestone? Or a budgeting oops that turned into a breakthrough? Email me at podcast@Triggator.com or message me on Instagram, Facebook, or X @Triggator. If this episode helped you, here's how you can help us. Follow the show to stay on track with your Triggator Triangle journey. Leave a review, especially if this episode gave you a new plan or a new mindset. Share this episode with a friend who's ready to stop dreaming and start doing. And don't forget to follow @Triggator on social media for tips, encouragement, and behind-the-scenes content. Next time, we're talking about what we call safer savings, how to fund your future without freaking out. Saving money shouldn't feel like a panic attack in spreadsheet form. In this next episode, we'll introduce the safer method, a simple, powerful way to prioritize your savings without sacrificing your sanity. You'll learn how to build an emergency fund without fear, save for fun in your future, and know exactly when to shift from peace of mind to wealth funds. Because saving isn't about restriction, it's about readiness. Remember, debt freedom isn't a fantasy. It's not a lottery ticket. It's not reserved for the lucky few. It's a plan, it's a rhythm, it's a decision you make, one paycheck at a time. So lead your money with purpose, because when you do, your money doesn't just behave, it builds. Thanks for listening to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. We'll see you next time.